Solving and checking algebraic equations. So you can see equations show equality or balance. So this is what an equation looks like. It needs to be even. Okay, this is x plus 3. There's x plus 3 little squares equals 12. Okay, the goal is to isolate the variable, which means get the variable on one side. To do this, other items like the constants and coefficients having to be removed by using the inverse. Okay, if you don't remember what the constant and the coefficient are, if you have an equation like 2x plus 3, the constant would be the 3, the coefficient is the 2. Okay, so that's the constant, that's the coefficient. So coefficient. Okay, but if a constant and or a coefficient is removed, the equation is no longer in balance. So whatever is done to one side, you must do to the other side. Okay, you can see here, if you added 3 to one side, you have to add 3 to the other side. Make sure you always keep the balance. What you do to one side, you do to the other side. So on the next slide, I've got some examples. We have c plus 3 equals 11. You have this do-undo chart. So if you see what's being done, it's adding 3. So to undo adding 3, you subtract 3. C plus 3 equals 11. So you can see I subtracted 3 on both sides. That would cancel these 3's out. 11 minus 3 gives you 8. And then when you check your answer, you take the original equation, c plus 3 equals 11. You'll substitute the value you got in for c and put the 8. Then you'll work out the left side, so 8 plus 3 equals 11, and 11 does equal 11, so that checks out correct. So the next one, we have n divided by 4. Well, the do is dividing by 4, so the undo is multiplying by 4. Over here, n divided by 4, you multiply by 4. The 4's cancel each other out. You do also see it like this here. So 4n divided by 4. N will equal 16. So again, when you check your answer, you substitute the value you got for the n into the n, which gives you 16 divided by 4, and 16 divided by 4 equals 4. So that checks out. So you go to the next examples, and we have here h minus 3. Well, the do is minus 3, so the undo is adding 3. H minus 3, so you could see I added 3 on both sides, because what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. H equals 11 plus 3 is 14. So 14 is your answer. Check your answer. Take the value you got for h, substitute it in. 14 minus 3 does give you 11. Next one. 6g equals negative 24. Well, the do is multiplying by 6, so the undo is dividing by 6. So I have over here 6g divided by 6, and the 6's will cancel out. What I did to one side, I did to the other side. So g is equal to negative 24. Oh. So negative 24 divided by 6. If you remember you had different notes for adding and multiplying and dividing integers. One was you have the little triangle, make that little face looking thing. And if you have a negative divided by a positive, cover up the negative and the positive. Whatever sign is left will be the sign of your answer. So negative 4. All right, then I check that as well. 6g equals negative 24. 6 times, and then when you're substituting, when they're right next to each other, it's best to put in parentheses. So 6 times negative 4 is negative 24. So that checks out. Okay, a couple more. Now we have some two-step. So for these two-step, what does that mean, two-step? 2h minus 3 equals 11. Well, if you notice, two things are happening to the variable. It says 2 times h minus 3. We always want to undo the constant first. And you can see that note right over here. Note our first focus is the constant. In this case is the minus 3. So I have the minus 3 as my do. My undo is adding 3. The second do and undo is the multiplying by 2. So then we undo by dividing by 2. All right, so I've got 2h minus 3 equals 11. The first do was minus 3, so I need to undo that by adding 3, both sides. Okay, bring down what is still on the left side, which is the 2h. Calculate 11 plus 3, that gives you 14. So now we have this new equation right here, 2h equals 14. Now 2h means 2 times, so the undo of multiplying is divide, so divide both sides by 2. That leaves you with h. 14 divided by 2 is 7, so your answer is 7. So when I check my answer, it's going to work the same way. Copy the original equation, substitute in your value. So we got, for h, we're going to put the 7 that we had over here. So 2 times 7 minus 3, order of operations, 2 times 7 is 14, bring down the minus 3, bring down the 11. 14 minus 3 is 11. Okay, and of course there's all these little notes down here that you can read through. So, next example, we have -4 plus 8 equals -2. So the first part we focus on is the constant, which is the 8. So the first do is adding 8. So the first undo is subtracting 8. Then we have the coefficient, which is the -4. That's multiplying. So times 4, divide 4. All right, so I go over here to my equation. -4g plus 8 equals -20. I do my first undo, which is subtracting 8 from both sides of the equation. Bring down the -4g. Subtract or calculate -20 minus 8. Well, I see that they have the same signs, so you need to add the numbers and keep the sign as they are. So adding and subtracting integers, you need to watch that. Same sign, you add, keep, oh gosh, keep sign the same. Okay, that's just a little note. Okay, now -4g equals -28. The second undo is to divide by -4. When I do that, I cancel out the -4s on the left. -28 divided by -4. Now remember there was that little triangle that I drew before. So if I have a negative divided by a negative, those will be covered up and I'm left with a positive. So +7 is my answer. Over here, check my answer. -4g plus 8 equals -20. Take my value of g, substitute it into the g, which is the 7 in parentheses. So -4 times 7 plus 8 equals -20. Work out the multiplication first because order of operations says to. You get -28. Bring down the plus 8 and so on. Now we have here -28 plus 8. Well, how did we get -20? So here you need to remember different signs. You subtract and take the sign of larger number, sign of larger. Okay, I know these notes are all over the place, but you can always look in your other notes for integers. So, different signs, because one's negative, one's positive. So we subtract the two numbers, get a 20. Take the sign of the larger number, which is the 28. So negative 20 equals negative 20. Okay, that checks out. Last one. Okay, we have n divided by 4 plus 9 equals 15. So now remember, this one could be written as n over 4 plus 9 equals 15. That may be how you see it sometimes. It's the same thing. So the first one, we want to undo the constant, which is the 9. We undo that by subtracting 9. The second part is the dividing by 4 by multiplying by 4. So I do that over here. I've got my equation. I'm going to cancel out the negative 9 first. All right, I now have, bring down the n divided by 4. 15 minus 9 is 6. Now I'm going to undo the division by multiplying. Multiply both sides by 4. They cancel out. Here. So n is equal to 24. So again, I'll take that 24, substitute it into my n. Order of operations does say to divide before adding. So 24 divided by 4 is 6. Bring down the 9. And 6 plus 9 is 15. So 15 does equal 15. That checks out. All right, and then the last slide does have some additional videos if you would like to watch those. Okay? So good luck.